window of his university room, he could see the students and other people, participating in that, and how police is beating them, smashing them, and even firing at them, in spite of the fact that their their congregation, their protest was a non-violent. It was a peaceful march. So he, at this point, looking out of the window, he's filled with the kind of frustration and anger. He lost his head, and he ran out of his office and joined the protesters. And he tried to keep up the flag, the tricolored flag. So he is also beaten up with lathi, and then he is put in the prison. And then looking at people around him, these most of them are his students, right? And you know he was, now we can see that without even thinking about it, without even planning, he has naturally taken up the role of a leader, because most of these students are sitting in that van. So his observation, when his students are talking to them about, sir, what is to be done, he said that the hour is not just yet, but we are apart from it at a hair's breadth, right? Breadth. So that means the role of a leader has come so very naturally to him. The confusion he was having, it is sorted out. He has to take a lead. He has to lead from one or the other front in this movement. Now, reason. Rahoul is given he's released from the prison, and he understands why he has been released from the prison. Number one, because he is a professor, and secondly, he is working on his father. His father, when he was invited as for a in a DC's office on lunch, he very shrewdly, or very, I should say stupidly also, he lets it out just to gain a kind of self-importance. He tells everybody that his son is working on some secret rays, right? On some mysterious rays, and these rays, maybe they will create a revolution in the time to come. So the government, there's the secret agents of the government, they have taken a note of it, and probably they realize that Rahoul is a great researcher. So he's working on a death ray, a work which may be of use to Britain for the war, right? In the annihilation of the enemies. So see, this death ray, maybe this will be a kind of weapon they will be able to use. So keeping that in mind, Rahoul is set free so that he can work on his project. So Prakash, he had already told Rahoul that amongst the students only, there were a few people who had been hired by the government to keep an eye on Rahoul, right? And therefore, that Rahoul is set free, right? So so long as Rahoul keeps on working on his project, right, he will not be touched by the government. He may do things, but then Prakash has kept a pretense, right? So that what actually Rahoul is not making any death ray, he's just working on, he's researching on some rays, but just to keep this lie around. What they are doing, Prakash has been copying Rahoul's notes in a very false manner, in a very gibberish manner, right? And so these notes, these fake notes, they were the spies who were spying on Rahoul, they were making note of these fake notes, and it is as if they are pretending that they are few steps away from making this death ray. And this was a good protection for them, so that they are not unnecessarily, like others, they are put in the prison. So the good work will continue, right? So that is, he knows what is the reason. Now the things are getting intensified. We see there is an incident where Manju, who is totally against any such movement any such actions of grandfather or even Rahul. She wants her life to be peaceful. Manju is a symbolic of an ordinary woman who wants an ordinary life, who wants, peaceful life with family, right? So she is happy with her life. But Manju, one day, she was standing on the balcony. She saw the man who every day came and lit up the lights, right? The street lights. She saw when he was there, he was shot by the policeman who thought that he is some kind of protester, some kind of congressman, and he is there to destroy government's property, destroying the lights put up by government in the streets. So, what they have done, mindlessly, the policeman has shot at that person, and the person Manju has seen with her own eyes, uh, the man getting killed, right? And that sound of the bullet and the sight of the man getting killed, it shocks her so much. She is literally in shock, and she has to be given some sedatives, or like, so that she can come out of the shock. So we see this first hand uh, interaction of Manju with the atrocities of the British government, right? Where people are not considered as people, their lives are not given any importance, right? The government property, that is the light, is more important than the life of a man, right? She is overcome with the injustice of all. On the other hand side, we see what is happening in Baroni. Devata, Kajali's father, and other men, they are taken captive, right? Why they are taken captive? Because they have shown their commitment towards the tricolor. They are keeping the flag up, and nobody is allowed to do that. So, in this time when they are showing their unity with the revolution, which is taking place. As in the beginning, I told you the Quit India movement, the Quit India movement, and that is, they are taking part in that. So, government is trying to quash any such movement. So you can see the double-faced British government. On one hand side, they were fighting with the fascists to uplift the democracy. On other hand, they were trying to suppress any voice of protest from others, right? So villagers, you know, Kajali, they are all taken into prison. Now villagers are full of anger and resentment. It is like a mass anger, and when that happens, what happens? It is, when there is a crowd, people don't think what they did. They went and they were ready to make a destruction, but they are stopped by Devta. And when that van of the officer takes Devta and all others, right, before going, they fire 6 shots at the tricolor, right? Jate jate bhi, what the police people do, they shot at they shoot towards a flag, the flag which is a symbol of their freedom. So they shoot at that flag, and this again angers the villagers. Now there is no devata or any other village leader to tell them, to reason with them not to do anything untowardly. So what they do, they vent out their anger by burning the post office which is set by the British government in every village. They go and burn down the post office. Why? Simply because it is government's property. It is very unreasonable, burning property to show your anger. This is very unreasonable. We see it now also, so we see this is how they went out their anger. Now after this, naturally, some strict steps will be taken by the government. So many villagers, including Kanu also, Kanu, the Kajali's brother, they are taken by the police and they are put into the prisons. Right? Now this whole incident is seen and shown from Kajali's point of view. She's proud of her father, she's proud of Devata, and then she's also proud of Kanu's role. But you know, she she's a sister, but she has that mother-like feelings. Kajali is shown to be more mother-like than even her own mother. So she is actually, you know, she takes that flag and she hides it in her home, and she doesn't let anybody find that out, because it is a matter of a self-respect for these people. So we find that in Brawny, this is taken up to this kind of disturbance happens, right? That's all, girl.